Greetings, church. I changed my camera here so you could see my little Christmas tree in my office. I'm getting into the season, right? I got my John Wayne ornament here, and I got Anthony here on my tree, so I'm really excited about Christmas. I'm also excited to share some devotional thoughts with you in the coming days that are about Christmas. But today, I want to talk about division, particularly division in the church. In John chapter 13, verse 35, Jesus famously said, "This is how they will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." Jesus says that the primary way people are going to come to believe in him is if his disciples love each other. A few chapters later, in John chapter 17, Jesus is praying for his disciples when in verse 20 he says, "I do not ask for these, my disciples, only, but also for those who will believe in me through their words." That's you and I. He's praying for all Christians throughout time. And so what is it that he prays for us? Verse 21, that they may all be one. That they may all be one, just as you, Father, in me and I in you, that they also may be in us. And here's the reason, so that the world may believe that you have sent me. Jesus says that believing that he is the Son of God depends on us remaining united in the name of Jesus, us loving each other in spite of our differences. So guess what Satan's number one goal is when it comes to churches? Sowing seeds of division. And he's been doing this since the beginning of the church. Over and over again, Paul, if you read any of his letters, you're likely to stumble across multiple warnings against the divisions in the church, particularly divisions over silly things and silly arguments. In fact, in Galatians chapter 5, Paul lists divisions with several other sins, like sexual immorality, sorcery, and drunkenness. Why am I thinking about this today? Well, the thought just struck me this morning about how many forces are working to divide us, not just as a church, at large, but as a nation, political opinions and pandemic opinions, right? And in the Christian church, I've heard it from a number of places. If you go one way on the pandemic, for example, Christians will say that you're living in fear. You don't have any faith. But if you go the other way, other Christians will say, well, you're just being selfish and you don't care about people. On top of all of this, there's other ways that the devil is working to get a foothold. And the point is this: the devil is always trying to divide the church over silly, outside, non-eternal issues for the exact purpose of causing outsiders not to believe in Jesus. When Christians divide, we must understand that we are facilitating unbelief in Jesus. So, how do we stand against division? We must stand against division. How do we do it? I got two things that I want to mention to you very briefly this morning. Number one, don't be angry. It's more than okay to have opinions about all the things going on right now, even strong opinions. But don't make accusations against your Christian brothers and sisters when they disagree with your opinions. Don't make sweeping statements about their faith or their character. Just because they don't agree with you does not mean that they're living in fear. Just because they don't agree with you doesn't mean that they don't care about people or if they die from COVID-19. In Romans chapter 14, Paul is talking about some who still hold to old Jewish laws against eating meat. And he says this. He says, "As for the one who is weak in faith, welcome him, but not to quarrel over opinions. One person believes he may eat anything, while the weak person eats only vegetables. Let not the one who eats despise the one who abstains, and let not the one who abstains pass judgment on the one who eats, for God has welcomed him. Who are you to pass judgment on the servant of another? It is before his own master that he stands or falls, and he will be upheld, for the Lord is able to make him stand." In short, if it's not a matter of salvation, tolerate and accept each other's opinions. You don't always have to agree. You can even have healthy debates, if you can. But rather than focus on those divisive things, why don't you focus on the thing that unites you? And that's the second, final, and most important way to stand against division that I want to share with you this morning. Remember who unites you. The next time you're tempted to be divisive, to do something that might cause disunity in the church, the next time you're tempted to feel contempt for a fellow Christian, remember the absolute truth that both of you believe in: Jesus Christ. Galatians chapter 3, verse 28, the Apostle Paul says, "There is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, there is neither male nor female, for you are all one in Jesus Christ." You are all one in Jesus Christ, period. You can have different political views. You can have different pandemic views. You can have all kinds of different views. But you are one in the name of Jesus. What do we have in common? We are all sinners saved by grace. We all believe in Jesus Christ, that he's the only way to heaven. And we are a part of the church who Jesus has entrusted with the gospel, the salvation of the world. We must not mess this up with silly divisions, a willingness to loathe each other and leave each other when we're supposed to be willing to die for each other. When the salvation of the world is in our hearts and minds, we cannot afford to argue over petty things. I love you, church. We'll see you tomorrow.